In 1816, 147 people were abandoned on a wooden raft in the Atlantic Ocean. 13 days later, only 15 were alive. This was not a storm, not a battle, not an accident of nature. It was a decision. Now imagine watching the rescue ships sail away. Not sinking, not burning, just growing smaller against the horizon. The rope that once tied you to safety goes slack, and in that instant you understand something far worse than fear. You have not been forgotten, you have been cut loose. In July of 1816, the French naval frigate Medusa ran aground off the coast of West Africa. The disaster itself was survivable. There were lifeboats, there was time, there were officers trained, at least in theory, to manage crisis. But there were not enough boats for everyone. Priority was given to the captain, senior officers, government officials, and select passengers. For the rest, a solution was improvised: a raft. Roughly 20 meters long, barely stable, hastily constructed from spare timber. 147 people were ordered onto it. Soldiers, sailors, a handful of civilians. They were given almost no food, almost no fresh water, no navigational tools. The plan officially was simple. The lifeboats would tow the raft to shore. That was the promise. At first, the convoy moved together. The raft dragged heavily behind the boats, half submerged under the weight of human bodies. Waves washed constantly across its surface. Men stood ankle to knee deep in sea water. It slowed the flotilla, it strained the boats, it complicated steering. Fear began to circulate among those in command. And then the calculus changed. The rope was not torn by wind, it was not snapped by waves, it was cut deliberately by hand. The lifeboats turned, the raft drifted, and the Atlantic closed around it. The first night brought panic. Without hierarchy, without authority, order fractured quickly. Fights erupted. Men were pushed into the sea. Some drowned in darkness before dawn. Rations disappeared almost immediately. Water ran out within days. Under the equatorial sun, skin blistered and peeled. Salt water infected wounds. Dehydration distorted judgment. By the fourth day, bodies lay across the planks. They were first thrown overboard, but death did not stop, and hunger did not wait. Cannibalism began, not as savagery, not as spectacle, but as arithmetic. The living required strength, the dead provided it. Each sunrise revealed fewer survivors. Mutiny followed. More violence, more bodies overboard. By the time a passing vessel, the Argus, spotted the raft 13 days later, only 15 men remained, too weak to stand, too delirious to celebrate. 132 had died. The scandal that followed shook France. The Medusa's captain had not earned his command through merit. He had received it through political loyalty after the Bourbon Restoration. Inexperience led to navigational error. Pride delayed corrective action. Self-preservation cut the rope. A trial was held. The captain was found guilty of incompetence. He received a short prison sentence. The system that elevated him remained untouched. The raft became more than a maritime tragedy. It became an indictment of leadership without qualification, of hierarchy without responsibility, of survival chosen for the powerful at the expense of the expendable. Civilization did not vanish on that raft overnight. It eroded. First through uncertainty, then through fear, then through the quiet realization that no one was coming back. And this is the question the Medusa leaves behind. When crisis strikes, who is protected, who is prioritized, and who is placed on the raft? because the line between order and chaos is not as wide as we pretend. Sometimes it is only as thick as a rope, and sometimes someone chooses to cut it.